Good afternoon and welcome. It's Friday, yay! And tomorrow is Saturday, and it's live football from St Andrews. Sheffield United are the visitors tomorrow. We'll be having a little look at that game in a minute. We'll be having a general chat about stuff. See how you are. See what's going on. Have a little look at what you think the team might be. I'll give you my team when we get talking a little bit. I'll have a little scout around. We're a little bit early, but not much. 5 minutes. It's nothing, is it? Oh, I think that's yesterday's comments there that we're having a little look at that they haven't cleared yet. Let me have a little look where we are today. We haven't got any comments yet, but I'm sure we'll in a minute. We've got two people on, so that usually means I'm going to get someone saying something any minute now. Come on, guys, come and talk, please. Let's get going. Let's get it going. Let's get it all working. I'm never happy until I see a few comments because all the issues that we used to have before with the group, if you remember, if you're one of the older, not older people, but one of the people that used to use the or join in on the chat a long time ago, months, I mean, like a few months, you'll understand. Paul James is here. How you doing, Paul? Paul's one of our moderators. Nice to see you, mate. John Farmer, good afternoon, John. How you doing? William Atkins, are you? Bill. Do you like being called Bill or William? I've got a mate who, I don't know, he calls himself William, but I always call him Bill. He's one of our moderators. So I hope you're all right. Everyone's good today. It's a beautiful day in Spain. We have actually got, at the moment, 22 degrees. It's going to go to 25 degrees today, apparently. So first of the sort of nice weather. We've got, where I'm in Spain, it's a huge area for St Patrick's Day, so we've got a really big couple of days coming up. There's Billy now. I was just talking about him. How you doing, Billy? Hope you're all right, mate. Yeah, how's things in Dublin, mate? He lives where my family's from. Billy does. He lives in Drogheda. Um, William Atkins, yes, good. I'm glad you're good, mate. Big game tomorrow. Big game tonight. Wrexham take on Swansea tonight, so I'm looking forward to that one as well. That is at the Vetch. So Swansea, of course, formerly Chris Davis's team, and you know they can do us a big favour, can't they? Harry Parker saying good afternoon from Mid-West Yorkshire. West Yorkshire, what sort of, where is that, Harry? Is that like Leeds? I don't know. Is it West Yorkshire? Or is that sort of Wakefield and that same thing, isn't it? I worked in Leeds for a while when I was actually doing some work for David Lloyd in Tong Lane in Headingley, lovely area, and I stayed. I can't remember the name of the place I stayed for quite a while, a few months. It's just not far from Headingley. It's named after a kind of cattle or something. I can't remember it now. I might do as the conversation goes on. Bill Atkins, thanks. I managed to get the top of vintage. Oh, you got it. Brilliant, mate. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah, I love that top. I was going to wear it today, but to be honest with you, I wore this to work this morning, and I've just got back, and I'm a little bit late, and I thought, you know what? Look at it. There's nothing wrong with it. I'll wear this and get changed afterwards. Good afternoon, Lee. How you doing, mate? Nice to see you, Lee Stanley back. Um, yeah, is it the same as the one I got, William? Is it the same top? You know, like the one that that person kindly donated to me is a 140-year anniversary top. Um, Leeds, Wakefield, Huddersfield, yeah, got it. Barnsley, Paul James, Swansea should be up for it. It's a derby, Welsh pride. Yeah, I mean, apart from anything else, I would want Swansea to win anyway. I've got a lot of friends in South Wales and quite a few friends at the Jacks. And I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for Swansea. If I had to support a Welsh team, it would be Swansea. Been there many times. Mate of mine was in prison in Swansea. Dave Taylor, the ghost, they called him. work it out for yourself. I don't know. Um, yeah, nice one, mate. I'm glad you got the top. It is a really nice top, isn't it? I was actually gonna have it sort of taken in a little bit because it's a bit big, and I took it to work with me yesterday. There's a woman at work that does that sort of stuff, and she had a pins with her so she could like make any adjustments. So I put it on. She said it's all right. You don't want to. It's fine. I thought it's a bit big, but then to be honest, I said no, it's all right and leave it. It's cool because in the summer here as well, it gets so hot. You know, something baggy like that would be really nice, and it's great for the. I love using that shirt for the podcasts. Um, Lee's good. Right then, Sheffield United. What do we think? It's a big game for us, particularly obviously if please Swansea can beat Wrexham tonight, then that's going to give us put us almost within touching distance of the minute. You know, we can we can beat Sheffield United then tomorrow, and then they've just changed the Wrexham game. Actually, they've changed the date. They've moved it to the Sunday, which is the 12th. So that's obviously going to be for television. So the 12th of April is the new date for the Wrexham game. So put that one in your diary, or if you're posh and you've got a diary, if you haven't, write it on the back of a fag packet. But that's the new date for that. They're always messing around with the dates, aren't they? I forget what it was prior. I think it was a Saturday, so it doesn't make any great difference. Um, I would have preferred them on a night, simply because the atmosphere is better at night. But I think that one will be a good one. Sunday, it'll be a full house. Obviously, that's going to be a big game, irrespective of wherever anyone is at the time. It's a month away, so hopefully that's going to be a nice three points for us against Wrexham, against Sheffield United as well. It's not going to be an easy game. Sheffield United are a good team. They've got quality all through the team. I don't like Wilder. I'm not like a big fan of his. But you have to say that they have some very good footballers. You know, if you look through the team, you know, up top they got Tyrese Campbell, who is always going to be a handful for you, and then Andre Brooks wide on the left, and of course. Callum O'Hare sort of in the 10, and he is a handful as well. What a good player O'Hare is. Riedwald and Peck in the middle, so two Pecks in the middle battling against each other, and then at the back we have Sariki, the right full back. He's a little bit of an Ethan Laird kind of player, and alongside him the big lanky Tanganga, who I think we can mess him and Biden up in the two central defenders. Tyler Bindon. I think he's a New Zealander, Tyler Bindon. But I fancy Priska to get amongst them tomorrow if he's well, if he's picked. A few people are calling for a return of Kyogo. I just don't know if Chris Davis is going to go down that road again. I must admit I didn't want to. I thought no, and then I thought about it over after Saturday's game, and then I thought, you know, something. It could. I don't know. You know, he come on with a few minutes to go. He presses really well. If you've got a back four that's a little bit jittery, I just honestly don't know what the answer is. Lee Harvey's saying, "Are you Steve? Putting the washing on the line." 2 minutes. Well, the missus got you working, son. About time. Give them girls a little rest from the washing. I did my washing yesterday. I'm so well organised. So it'll be interesting to see how they line up against us. I mean, they do play, I believe, with a 4-2-3-1 the way we do, so it'll pretty be much be like for like, and we like those sort of games. We tend to play better against teams that line up like us, and they do line up with a 4-2-3-1. But we haven't done too much against the top teams this season, unfortunately. Billy saying Kyogo is a good last minute option. frightening defenders. He is. I mean, we was talking about his pace the other day, weren't we? We talked about his pace and how he presses, and of course that goal he scored. I think Sheffield Wednesday, when the ball was more or less on the centre half's toe. They were pushing forward, and he just like ran in and nicked it off him. He didn't even realise he was coming. Went through, got the keeper to beat, dispatched it well, and that was obviously his last time he started the game. Lee Seno definitely would sign Solis. Well, mate, I would as well. I mean, what a good player. He's like our little Patrick Vieira, isn't he? He's a great player, Solis. Richard Notwell, bloody Wrexham on a Sunday at 12. Well, it was going to happen when Sky won that game. Of course they do. Paul James is saying, I thought no, but watching the video Harry put on the forum reminded me how good he is. Yeah, he's great if he puts them away. That's the thing. And that finish against Ipswich was absolutely class, and there was nothing wrong with it at all. Just the whole of that game was poor refereeing. Right at the end, when Dykes was given a penalty against him, that goal from Kyogo, there was nothing wrong with it. It's just so annoying. It really is. So Harry Parker's on with the Wrexham have a tricky run. 3 away games, including battling Baggies. Home to Southampton, away to us. They have got 3. They have. They're not. You wouldn't want those games, would you? Really? Billy's saying, did you get a new tattoo? I don't know. That one, this one here, I added here. That because I had the shamrock there, and then I've had some dot work put around it, and I've got like the kids here. But no, not like a massive one. I've had that just extended, and the one on my hand is that dumbbell, which I love. Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting game. They lost to Norwich City on Wednesday, didn't they? They lost 2-1. There was 1-0 up and lost 2-1. Norwich, of course, not a bad team, but we beat Norwich at Norwich, although we had to hang on at the end. It doesn't make any difference, but people keep going on about that. Dan Garvey's on. How you doing, Gan? Hope you're all right, Dan. Hope everything's good in Brum at the moment for you lot. Like Richard's saying, we could have done with the extra 2 points from the Ipswich game. We could have done with the extra, 2 points from loads of games, to be honest with you. And like for us, our recent home form's been very poor. Had we won 2 of those instead of drawing them, we'd have another 4 points. Now we would be sitting pretty for the top 6, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But you can look at it on the other hand, it's like the Blackburn game away that we won in the last kick of the game with Lyndon Dykes. You could say really we're a little bit fortunate there. We've been fortunate a few times, we've been unfortunate a few times. These things tend to sort of level themselves out over a season. But yeah, we could have been in a much better position had we been a little bit more dominating at home, because it's our home record. Everyone's going on about the away record, but it's our recent home record that has let us down. We've won 3 games away from home out of the last 5, so that's not bad. Richard saying, yeah, West Brom was robbery. Well, it was, but anyway, all them things are gone. What are we thinking about on Saturday? Chris Wilder's Sheffield United, the Blades. Like I said, they're looking good, aren't they, at the moment? They're not a bad side. They did lose on Wednesday, but it's not the end of the world, is it? If you have a little look through our team, I think, I know what team I would go with. Harry's saying Benjamin Bloom, YouTuber, says we're winning 3-2. He's pretty good. I like Benjamin Bloom, actually. He's one of the better ones. Ipswich fan, I know, but Benjamin's good. I do like him. 3-2 though, I mean, it would be a great game if it ended that way, but I can see there being goals in it. But I think if you look through the team at the moment, we are very. We look. Good afternoon, Emily. How are you, my love? Emily Mulder, one of our. Well, she's just like ace moderator in GM. She knows everything. She helps everyone. She's a good girl. Um, Richard saying we won 3 games, scoring 4, but then can't finish teams off at home. It's one of those things, It's like people saying, well, we only scored 1 against QPR the other night. We did, but we were unfortunate as well. Ethan led at the post. A couple of decisions went against us. Just the usual run-of-the-mill football stuff. But if you win 1-0, you get the same points as you do if you win 6-0. And I know someone's going to say, yeah, but the goal difference. But you know what? 3 points was enough for me. We just needed to win on Wednesday, and we did. But just having a little look through the team at the moment, I think we've got some interesting partnerships developing now. And I know it's a bit late in the season to develop partnerships, but better late than never, and it could be important. I think on Wednesday, Clara and Robinson looked really comfortable together. It's the best I've seen Robinson for a while. In fact, since last time, Clara for a while. And I was about to say, in fact, since the last time Robinson played. Don't forget, Robinson wasn't left out because Neumann took his place. He was injured. Robinson's been injured. He's back. And we want that left-footed, left-sided centre half. Gives us more balance. And him and Clara looked really solid the other night. I don't think, well, I'm absolutely certain that Wagner won't be fit tonight. So do we go with Ethan Laird on the left and Watch on the right? I think we will. But there would be the option of playing Panzo on the left and Laird on the right, or Laird on the right and Samuel on the left. I don't know. So interesting options, definitely. I think he will stick it as it was the other night. I hope. See, the temptation with Chris is that he'll play the same team. I don't want him to. I think that back four, yeah. The goalkeeper, yeah. I mean, he didn't have anything to do. Someone said yesterday, and this is what pisses me off with our supporters, is these are these kind of, when I've said before about passive-aggressive posts, and I've seen this kind of thing before about Beadle. Did anyone notice that, Beadle didn't touch after the first touch of the ball when he kicked it upfield after the kick-off, he didn't touch it again for 32 minutes. Do you think it's a tactic not to pass the ball back to him? I know what people are going, I know the answer that's required. Yeah, fucking hell, we don't want to give it back to Beagle, this shit, But, you're going to nip them in the bud, which we did. But, it's just that pisses me off so much. We just won, nothing good to say about anything, Just have a quick knock of Beadle while we can. Here goes my blood pressure. Where's Tina when you want her? Emily Mould is saying Clara and Robinson are a great pair. Brilliant to have him back in the squad. He is, and he's got the throw, of course, we know that. The two fullbacks, like I said, fine. Solis and Peck were absolutely immaculate on Wednesday, particularly Peck, who he is just superb, isn't he? And Solis doing that footing, moving around, taking the ball forward. A few people said he gives the ball away occasionally. He does, Players like those defensive mids that play like him, long legs, breaking up the play, they're going to give the ball away occasionally, but more often than not, he doesn't. And then up front, well, I would start Gray for this one. If Priska is fit, Priska goes 9, Stansfield 10, and Paddy on the right. That would be my team. But let's see. Who knows? Paul James is saying Robinson was excellent. There's a lot of very good performances. Man of the match was a hard choice. It was. If I had to pick a man of the match, I think it would have to just about go to Paik, probably. But it was good. Pete Allen saying, I think Sheffield United have really underachieved this season, given their squad. A tough game for us, but winnable. A winnable one, and they're already lost 18 times this season. That's a lot of defeats, but that means they've won more than us, doesn't it? I think we've lost, I can't remember how many, we haven't lost 18. So it's going to be an interesting one, Pete, definitely. Let's see what happens. Richard is coming back. We would love to know if Kai is fit. Would love to know if Kai is not. If Kai is fit, who would your back four be? I'm sorry, I misread that. No, the back. No, I mean, you know, the boss has already gone with Robinson over Panzo, so I think that's, you know, that's. I think the two centre backs are. That's it. You know, that's the first choice centre back pairing. Right back for me, if everyone's fit, is Ethan Laird. Left back is Wagner. That would be the back four for me. You know, Panzo is the second choice left-sided centre half, and Neumann is the second choice right-sided centre half. That's how it is. And I know a few people have been moaning about it, and someone saying yesterday, this is it, like, you know, Clara's been absolutely crap this season, hasn't he? You know, somebody then produces the figures, you know, for Clara's performance the other night, when this guy had said that he was absolute rubbish, and the actual facts are there. You know, he wasn't rubbish. Look, and then, you know, you get the usual thing. Well, the people that stand round by me, well, of course I do, because you're going all the way through the game. Oh, Clara, you shit. Clara, what you doing? Clara, you idiot. Clara. And then they look round at you, don't they? And you go, yeah. See, they all agree with you. People just don't want to bother engaging with someone that just spouts shite all the way through the game. They do your head in. Bloody blood pressure again, Tina. Where are you when I need you? I need my blood pressure doing quick. Yeah, so, and you were faced with this stuff all the time. If only didn't have to keep talking about it. If people just don't like us, just go to another group. You know, you're not going to be able to get away with it here. Come on, give us a break, bloody hell. So, what's your team going to be? Anyone disagree with my starting 11? I mean, listen, Kyogo's not going to start. He's going to be on the bench. He's always good to have there if we need to bring him on. But I was also quite impressed with Kanya on Wednesday. When he came on, he did look good, and I've been one that's commented in the negative about him before, but no, I thought he looked quite good. And looking at Tomoki at right back as well, I think he looked a little bit leggy to me on Wednesday. The lad's played a lot of football. I mean, honestly, if you had to have a player of the season this season, he's not going to be far off it. For the simple reason he's played in so many positions, you know, right back, he's played defensive mid, he's played centre half. He's just like, what a great utility player Tomoki is. And when people were saying, like our last day signings, like when we've had the one that's just gone now with Priska, you know, last day signing, you know, like rushing to get him in. And Robinson, you know, Robinson and Roberts on the last summer season, two great signings. And then the season before, Stansfield and Tomoki Iwata, all of those players were signed on the last day of the transfer window. Richard is saying our front four, pick any from about 8. Yeah, I think you're absolutely bang on there. Let's have a look. You know, you've got Vicente, you've got Roberts, you have Wright, Stansfield, Priska, Kyogo, Kanya, Dux, Osman, and Dimmy. There's probably 10 there, isn't there? And we've got to pick 3 out of that. You know, how do you pick 3 players from those? You got to think. I mean, I do think that I was a little bit surprised when I seen Dux picked for Wednesday, because I don't think he did that much at the weekend, and then he didn't do much against QPR. It's just like we've got a luxury player there, and we can't afford to have one. Emily's saying Iwata is so adaptable, absolutely love him, and his work rate is off the scale. He's brilliant, isn't he? And Dan Garvey, how can we get Stansfield back into goal scoring mode? Well, it's going to come for him. It was interesting last night. I was listening to the Keep Right On podcast, which I don't always. I don't know. Like, I think they have to toe the line a little bit with Birmingham Live, and they don't like to have any sort of controversy at all, and they don't disagree with what the general feeling of the fans is. I know what they do. They walk the line, and it's fair enough. They're employed by someone. Unfortunately, it's Birmingham Live. It's a nightmare. I don't know if Brian Dickens anymore. I don't think he is, but Alex Dickens is, and. And they were saying, that exactly what I'd said yesterday or the day before, that when Stansfield plays in front of Ducks, if Ducks has a poor game like he has in the last two games, you lose Stansfield's sharpness up front because he has to come back and create stuff for himself. I think Alex Dickey made the point of saying, when Stansfield went wide on the right on Saturday, and he pulled the ball back into the space where Ducks should have been. There was no one there. Ducks is on the edge of the area, which is where he always sits. No left winger coming in. Osman probably should have been in there as well. And it's like Dickens said, Stansfield basically was pulling it back for himself, but he can't be there. He can't be in two places at once. And I agree, wholeheartedly with that. You can't expect. And I've said it before. When Stansfield, if Ducks isn't, Ducks is either really good or anonymous, and if Ducks is on one of his anonymous days, then if Stansfield is playing up front, he also has to play in the 10 as well. You can't do, he can't do both jobs. It sounds like I'm having a go at Ducks, and I am, but not. There's no doubt there's a talented footballer in there. He has some lovely touches, but he said himself that he's a big game player. We haven't got the luxury of having a big game player that only does flicks and touches, and he did have two half decent chances against QPR. I'm not saying that they were great chances, but but really, can we afford to have a luxury player that isn't fully involved? If he's involved, it's brilliant. As a sub, try him. He's not an impact player, I don't think. But Richard's saying. I would like Dimi, Carlos, Stansfield and Prisca over Ducks if he's fit. Yeah, I don't know about. I think Dimi will play. I don't think Carlos will start on Saturday. I think Carlos. I think it's more likely to be Paddy Roberts after the game he had. I think Roberts has sort of got that. He's probably sort of first choice. But we're so spoilt in the wide positions. Lee Harvey is saying, did we all see Stano heat map? Yeah. I think that was a bit of a piss take actually, Lee, because it was just all red, wasn't it? I think they were trying to make a point like that he just doesn't stop running. But he's probably got the... Well, if you want someone to press, Stansfield and Kyogo are a goalkeeper and centre-half's worst nightmare, because those two know how to press. Unfortunately, Ducks hasn't got a press in him. Dimmy can press. We see the wingers press. I still think that Carlos is getting himself just acclimatised to the English game. Playing La Liga is a big difference. And then on the left-hand side, we've got Osman, who started like a train like a house on fire, didn't he? On Wednesday, he absolutely tore them to pieces, and he has got that ability. But then he has little phases in the game where he goes quiet, or he misplaces a pass, or he has a ball taken off him. He just needs to concentrate a bit more. He's a young kid, though. He's very highly rated. Richard Lawton is saying, yeah, piss take, all red. Yeah, he was. Yeah. But it was. It was. I think what the club are trying to do, and it's fair enough, is you do get the odd shitty comment about Jay Stansfield, and I just don't know how anyone can make them. If we had, well, we wouldn't want 10 Jay Stansfield because we would be a bit shit in the back, and I don't know how good at the goal he is. But the point I'm making is that if everyone had the same application and heart that Jay Stansfield has, then we wouldn't have a problem, because and that's it's just Jay, he's such a wonderful, wonderful footballer, and what a great signing he's been for us. He's very, very hard working, presses the hell out of anyone that he's playing against, and he takes a little bit of responsibility for the result. He like uh, you can almost see him sometimes dragging the game by the scruff of the neck, can't you? And it's what we need in our squad at the moment. Um, there's been criticism of Clara as a captain. I don't. I think he's a good captain. And what I love about Clara, he reminds me of centre halves of days gone by. That lad is going to put his head in the bloody alligator's mouth if you ask him to. He will head anything away. He puts himself anywhere. He's fearless. You can't say that about a lot of centre halves. Um, he may not be the best footballing centre half, but when you've got Jack Robinson alongside him, Jack can do that. Jack's not as big. He's good in the air. He's got a great throw on him. He reads the game extremely well, and he's very, very good in the dressing room. You can see how much Chris Davis loves him. Chris Davis always speaks highly of Jack Robinson. I think he was a great signing, and of course, it's his old team, isn't it? Sheffield United. Richard saying maybe Saturday is Saturday's a day for a Jay Grace. Well, why not say a hat trick? But we all know that Jay's got the ability to score, and I don't think. But it's like every striker. You can say that, like Chris Davis will tell him all day long, it doesn't matter if he scores or not. But Jay knows that people expect him to score goals, and that's his job, and that's what he likes doing. And so when he comes off the pitch and he hasn't scored again, he feels that. You'll see that when he scores his next goal, the relief. But we do know that he's one of his most dangerous. This is why I like him playing at the number 10. Is that his most dangerous, Stansfield is, when he's around the edge of the box, because he can finish, and he can finish from distance. He can score from 20 yards, no problem. He'll keep the ball down, he'll direct it properly. And I like him in that number 10, I do. And of course, he has the ability to go wide and switch with Dimmy sometimes, which I really like to see as well. So all good there. Jerry Can, years gone by, we used to have a front partnership. We have a new forwards, but no link partnership. I don't know which partnership you're talking about, like Francis Hatton, Francis Latchford Hatton, brilliant. I think one of our problems, Jerry, is that, and all season has been the problem, we haven't been able to have a settled 11, and now with the newcomers, it makes it even harder, because it's harder for a team to establish partnerships when the team changes all the time. I'm hoping that we start to get more of a unchanged team going forward, with the changes coming on 60, 70 minutes. You just give the players a chance to get, to sort of get used to each other. And I think with all the new players, and also that particularly with the centre halves for me, we've had about 8 or 9 different centre half pairings. You're never going to be successful with that. And now let's hope we keep the 2 that we got there, and they can forge a partnership, which they seem to be doing. They've always played together well while they when they play together, and I think that up front, the changes are going to be in the wingers probably. Vicente against teams that are going to struggle when someone goes around the back. Probably Patrick Roberts when you need someone to add themselves to the midfield. It's horses for courses. But I get the point. Lee Harvey's saying Jay would fit in any team. I think he would, Lee. He's a really, really good footballer, and I think with him, with that comes a lot of expectation on a young lad. He's only young, and I think a lot of people then expect a lot of him. And I have seen, but they do it to more or less everyone. We've seen comments starting to come in about Jay Stansfield, like, what's he done and all this. Well, if you watch Jay Stansfield play on Wednesday and you don't think he had a good game, then there's something wrong with you, because he could easily have been man of the match as well, couldn't he? He was absolutely magnificent. Um, so it's going to be a really interesting one, and hopefully we can. It was a bit frustrating on Wednesday because when we're watching and we see them take the lead after 8 minutes, then you're really elated because you're thinking, great, they've got that early goal that we always want, but then they don't score. There's another like 82 minutes when we don't score, and I think, excuse me, one moment. And we did come extremely close, didn't we? I mean, you got to say Ethan Laird with that header, and Laird is so good in the air. You forget how good he is. Like, he hangs in the air, doesn't he? He's got a leap like a salmon, and apart from smiling all the time, he's extremely good in the air. And he's a very good player, and he's capable of goals. We've seen that last season. So I think he can add a little bit of danger around the box. I'd like to see John Solis be a little bit more forward thinking, although I wouldn't want to swap that for what he does defensively. So we don't want that to affect his game. But I'm just thinking, when we're forward in numbers, John Solis on the edge of the box, if he can then do something when he gets the ball on the edge of the box like that, then that's brilliant. Excuse me. We forget Jay Sam Ager's Beadle. I know, and people forget that. I don't forget it. They're young lads, and actually, Beadle isn't far off in terms of how many Premier League, how many Championship games he's played. Beadle played 38 games, I think, for Sheffield Wednesday last season. He's played for Oxford, hasn't he? And obviously he's played for us. So, they're very, very similar in their careers so far, except Beadle, of course, is still a Brighton goalkeeper. Paul James said anyone who says what has Jay done shouldn't be driving. One of the most frustrating things, I think, is being able to cope with other people's opinions, and it's not cope with them. I mean, we know, everyone has an opinion, but when people say stuff which is obviously just not correct, I don't know if it's really, really hard thing to explain, and I apologise, but do you know what I'm doing, John? Right, these houses, although, like, I'm looking now, it's like 22 degrees outside. These houses are cold, so I just put in my fire on. I've got like a little fire thing here. You don't have central heating. Well, you can if you want it in Spain. It's not worth it. So I've just been putting my little gas fire on here. It's a little mobile thing, so I'm sorry about that. You wouldn't want to see an IKEA flat pack if I built it, mate. But yeah, so there's a lot of things to look at with all of our team, and think sometimes you might be being a little bit overcritical sometimes, because it's like with the new players. I mean, I've seen people saying straight away, Prisky's shit, Osman is shit. These lads have played 5 games. You can't judge a player on 5 games. Coming from another country, from another league, playing with teammates that speak in a different language, you have to have a little bit of understanding as well. Did anyone watch the bit of footage yesterday that the club posted about the new ground? That's exciting, isn't it? I want one of those little. I want one of those little models. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Look at my model. But the Villa fans are, fucking look at them, mate. It's just models. That'll never be real. Fucking Jesus. But anyway. Yeah, so 3 points. And then next week we have Derby County, that's another one. So Derby's going to be a big one, and I think that's another one that's winnable. I do think it's winnable. But yeah, that Lee's just saying it's really interesting, that little video, and it's interesting with the brick. You know what kind of bricks will we have? And I've seen someone put blue bricks. Well, do you remember like blue brick? You know, I've sort of forgot that are blue bricks. That would be brilliant, wouldn't it? Paul, the detail in the model was incredible. Yeah, I mean they're getting. You see that it makes you realise the scale of the actual job itself when you think that like a brick hasn't been laid, you know, nothing like actually physically has been done yet, and you see the size of the team of the people that are working on it. Now all those people are getting paid by that company. You know, this is a huge project in it. I mean, they're all on the payroll, and it's like Jesus. Not our payroll, on their payroll, but obviously that's financed by, when you do something like this, you're going to have a certain amount of money put up front for you because no one has the finance to do all of that. You know, you're talking about like a multi-billion-dollar project. Paul saying the detail in the model was incredible. Yeah. I just said that one, haven't I? It was incredible, yeah, and I'm looking forward. I hope to seeing it. You know, who knows? Tomorrow's not guaranteed for anyone, is it? So I hope I see it. But I've said it before. Dan saying Staffordshire blue and engineering bricks hard as nails. That'd suit us, Dan. Fucking hard as nails, man. Come on, you blue bricks. Villa's like a fucking. Is it like a dark, funny brown colour? Villa Park, I think it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, so the model was absolutely brilliant, and so exciting. But like I said before, I was thinking about it yesterday again when I seen that you know, like for me, like our soul is in St Andrews. So it might be, you know, when kids grow up and the chimneys are there, and they grow up with that, that's where the soul of the club is then. But for me, it's still there. And my mate Dave Taylor made a comment about that, and I think a few of us sort of agreed with it, that, you know, it might just be that he goes to one game at the new one to close a circle and then never go back and watch them again. Watch them from afar and still support them, but not actually physically support them. Paul James, yeah, definitely brown looking. He is. Villa's brown, man. Of course he is. John saying I've been looking at blue and red bricks and possibly cobbles. Listen, we ain't having blue and red together. That ain't happening because that's too much like claret and blue for me, John. We can't have that. I got into trouble last week when Tina was on, and she went and looked at this bloke's profile who was giving us a bit of shit. And it's come back and said, oh, he's got like, I think he's a Villa fan, he's got a claret top on or something like that. And I said, and it's the gospel truth, this is, I swear to you. And he blamed, and he accused me of calling him a Villa fan. I didn't. All I said was, I would never wear a claret top. Never. Would anyone here wear a claret top? Listen, it's not like a witch hunt. If you've got one, don't worry about it. But would you wear a claret top? I can't wear it. I couldn't wear anything claret. Yeah, Steve Doty there has got. That's actually on the Dulux colour chart. That one, it's called Villa Park Shitty Brown. That colour. So if you go on Dulux, go on their website, get the palette up, look for browns, and it will go like, you know, it will go light brown, dark brown, shit brown, Villa Shitty Brown. That's the one. Lee, no chance. I wouldn't, mate. No way, not for me. See, everyone's saying I wouldn't wear a claret top, and someone was having a go at me for saying that. No, it's too much like, well, you know, somebody might think you're a Villa fan. Or someone might see you out in it. You know, what are you doing wearing that? What? I honestly I haven't got one. I haven't got anything approaching that colour. So there you go. Just have a quick check. You can't see anything in the background. No, we're all right. But listen, it's all a bit of fun in it. Um, 44 minutes. We are a bit slow on the old comments again today. I think 65 now. We're about right. We're about right on the commenting. 15 minutes ish to go. I'll be on Sunday morning. Don't forget. I'm trying to get a couple of people on Sunday morning that might be interesting for you, but I'll let you know how that goes. I'm not going to say anything until I've definitely got them on. So there'll be me and Pete Hannon as usual, representing our great project, and then usually we're joined by Clive and Angus and Dave Pegg. So all of us will be there. Sean Baldock, what you think of my team? Um, when did you put it on, Sean? Did you put it on the other day? Uh, I remember it. Did you play with like? Just put it on, Sean. If you got a chance, just stick it on now. Forget the back four because I'm guessing that's going to be pretty much. How about the front? You know, like what would your front three be? Front four. Dan Gar, Phil Summerall, he'll be remembered, mate. Of course he will. Phil will be remembered. Absolutely, shocking and heartbreaking that Phil died. He was a lovely man. He get involved with us sometimes. Pete Hannon and I would quite often stick a bit on about Phil Summerall, and Phil would come on and comment occasionally. Cherry was more of the one that commented. Cherry's his wife. Phil wasn't really one for being like up front, podcast and all that business, but Cherry, lovely couple, and I'm pretty good friends with John Vincent's family, and John's widow, Pauline. She was big friends with Cherry when John and Phil were players at Blues. So it goes back a long way, and it's that thing in it where the team that you first saw, bit by bit, there's not that many left of them. I think Jim Elliott's dead. I don't know about Ray Martin. The two centre backs, Winston Foster. I don't know about him. I think Winston Foster's dead. I think Malcolm Beard, Colin Green, Ron Wiley, Barry Bridges is alive. Jeff Bowden, I don't know. Fred Pickering, I think he's dead. I don't know. It's like it's that passing of a generation, isn't it? And we're the next ones. But hey ho, it happens, and nothing you can do about it. The only option is, if you don't want to get old, is to die young, and we don't want that. So yeah, but we will remember Phil Summerall. Absolutely, we will. He got that. He got a very, very recognisable run, Phil, hadn't he? A few of the supporters used to call him the Camel. He used to sort of. He had this like hunchback run, Phil. But what a great striker! Johnny Cole is on saying. John Sissons. I don't know John. I don't know John Sissons. Johnny. Just before my time. But obviously, any ex-Blues player that has died, we mourn, because anyone that's worn that red shirt, to all that have gone, never forgotten. Well, no, of course not. And anyone that's been lucky enough to wear that blue shirt is going to be recognised by us no matter what happens. But particularly when that particular team was the very first team I ever saw at St Andrews, and I more or less just named them, I think. So it was like Harriet, Martin, Foster, Beard, Green, Wiley, Bridges, Vincent, Pickering, Bowden. I think that's the team, more or less. So, another one there that was dead, that died, of course, is John Vincent as well. John's been dead 15 years now. Dennis Thwaites was another one that was knocking about that team, and Dennis was shot in Tunisia, if you remember, by those terrorists. Him and his wife were both killed. So yeah. But it's nice to reminisce about old players, and then. And of course, about old supporters as well. We all have memories of people that died that that were Blue supporters and that we've been to matches with, and great memories. And memories are a brilliant thing. It's funny actually because with the newer generation now, everything that you remember will be able to be viewed on video or but obviously we haven't got that. We have got a little bits and pieces, but everyone talks about Barry Bridges' famous goal in the quarter-final of the FA Cup in the replay at St Andrews on a Tuesday night against Arsenal, when Barry scored an absolutely amazing overhead kick. That's not captured anywhere on video. I think there's like a photo of him just after he landed on the floor after doing it. But I would love to see that goal again. Luckily, I've got it trapped in my head. But I would love to see like a video of it, and there just isn't one. Lee Harvey's saying you got a good memory, Steve. I'm terrible. Lee, I can't remember anything that happened yesterday, mate. But I can remember things that happened. But Pete Allen's the one that you want to speak to about memory, because I mean, Jesus, he remembers everything. There's games that happened, that I can't even remember. I've been, Spanish. Yeah, it's funny, people that don't live in Spain often. So when people come over to the gym, they'll say, "Oh, you're so lucky living here," But I always say about Spain, it's either too hot, too cold, or too wet. When it rains there, it absolutely pisses down. When it's hot, it's like 45 degrees. When it's cold, it never gets like really cold, but the houses are cold. So in the winter, sometimes you can go outside, it's warmer than inside the house. It's just crazy, but it's how it is. But it's a lovely place to live. And the nice thing about being here is that you can walk outside nearly every day, and you have a blue sky. And it's not like, listen, I lived in England for years and years and years, and that murky, like drizzly sort of atmosphere is awful. Gary Simmons saying Keith Bowker was another player. I remember Keith. That era was only a bit part player, but very good with his head. Yeah, and another one was Ronnie Fenton. I forget where Ron is now. He was at Forest, I think. Ron Fenton as a coach. Mark Bates saying we have Seinfeld here in Malta. I've got a fire on now. I know, and like I just said, I just put my fire on, and it's 22 degrees outside. If I go outside now, it's fine. Go and sit outside, beautiful. Paul James saying, yeah, Pete is the sage regarding blues. Yeah, Pete runs our history project in the project, and I'm just praying now. We're just getting the last bits of our website together. We've had a few hold-ups with it. The guy that is actually building it, his child was ill the week before last, and put everything behind. So we're just finishing it off now. This weekend he should have everything he needs to get us up and running this week. We've got everything that we need now. Some of the lives are going to be on there. You'll be able to see a feed, a results feed. We've got, I think BBC Sport is going to be running on it all the time, or Sky. All the different projects, and ladies tab, men's, the charity stuff, everything is going to be on there. I can't wait to see. It's going to be absolutely brilliant, and we'll let you know as soon as that's up and running. I'm hoping that we can do a couple of lives directly from the site, so we'll see what happens. I need to just sort it out. Lee saying was just going to ask about the new site. Yeah, it was due to open like about 10 days ago, at the start of March, just before, end of February, start of March. And Darren, who's the guy that's building our website, he is absolute genius. He's got an autistic lad, and he hasn't been very well. You know what it's like when you got kids. And so obviously your kids come first, so he's had his hands full. So just put us back a week. It's not the end of the world, and everything's going to be up and running soon. Anything you want, you just go on there, have a look for it. It's going to be there. The results, the fixtures, interviews, all of our live stuff's going to be on there. Our own content, which is really good. Emily's stuff is going to be on there. Beck and the ladies stuff is going to be on there. Of course, the Charlton ladies lost the other night. So that is made that last game of the season for us at the Valley really, really interesting. So it's going to be such a brilliant, close season, end to the season in the ladies in the WSL2. Mark Prescott is saying, did the club ever get back to you about no? They haven't yet, Mark, but what I usually do, this is about the club not mentioning St David's Day. What I usually do is I give them about 10 days. Obviously they're busy, emails from me aren't at the top of their agenda, but they always come back, 99% of the time. If they don't, I'll just jog the memory. But I think it's something we need answered, because when you get every other nation recognised and every other holiday recognised, and I think we need to ask that question, And I did say when I emailed them, why was it? Was it just simply an oversight, And if it was, then put your hands up, because, no one's perfect. Richard saying Trevor Hockey, Steve. Yeah, no, Trevor Hockey died young, actually, Richard. He died when he was 45. He died from a heart attack. Another one from that time was John Sluwenhoek, Tulip, as they used to call him, because he was from Holland. John Sluwenhoek, who we actually bought from Villa. He's another one that he was a good centre half at the Villa, but he never really he never really had a big effect at Blues. But he died young as well, Johnny. I think he was 45, John Sluwenhoek. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of players that played big parts for us at that time. But that Bridges, Jimmy Greenough, Pickering, John Vincent, what class players they were. Richard saying Trevor Hockey, Steve. I'm sorry, mate, just read that once. No, Trevor's dead, unfortunately. And Hockey, of course, was a bit of a journeyman, but he was Blues like fifth Beatle. Every club had one at the time. I think the Villa had like Willie Morgan or something. United obviously had Best. Then there was we had Trevor Hockey, and so every team had a fifth Beatle, and Hockey was ours. But he did actually go on to play for Villa, and he did also play for Hull and a few others. But he did also play for Sheffield United. In fact, I think he went from us to Sheffield United, I believe. But I'm not 100% sure about that. But he did play for Sheffield United. So I think we're on the more or less coming up to our hour now. Let's have a little look at our comments. Have they been turned off? They haven't been turned off. I can see down there that they haven't. But we've still got a few left. So if anyone, feel free to put your team in the group. You're not going to get, I promise you're not going to get ridiculed for it, I mean, you put your team in and have a think about it. If Sean's still listening, I'll have a look at your team. And I did look at it yesterday, I think, and I commented if it's the same one that you did yesterday. Otherwise, I'll have a look today, because I've hardly been in the group today, because as soon as I've come home, I've come in here. Richard's saying, would you think footballers would have a decent life expectancy? Well, I mean, not particularly then either, because things like sudden adult death syndrome and stuff didn't really exist. People didn't know what it was. People just dropped dead. A lot of the players, someone was saying on Sunday, I think it was Clive, who comes on Sunday, he was saying that he was a ball boy at St Andrews, and he remembers Jim Montgomery when Jim Montgomery was in goal for us, and Jim Montgomery, as soon as they came off at half time, he'd be lighting a cigarette as he walked down the tunnel. So that's his half time fag, and there are photos of goalkeepers smoking a cigarette, leaning on the post. So I don't think health awareness was quite what it is now, and of course the equipment that the physios had at the time was a bucket and a sponge and some cold water. So it wasn't like, now it's like a fully loaded medical kit, isn't it, that the trainers and the coaches have. So a totally different thing altogether. But yeah, I think footballers now probably would have a better life expectancy. But what happens is, when you look at them, you stop football at 30, 35, and then have a look at the likes of Brucey and that. They just don't look after themselves, and they turn into big, overweight, whatever. Lee saying, I bet it was a case of man up back in them days. Well, yeah, definitely. Uh, People didn't recognise stuff the way they did now. Um, if you said like, I don't know, like I'm worrying about so and so, instead of like putting an arm around you, going, "You all right?" They'd say, "Fucking what you need is a good kick up the arse." That's how it was. Rightly or wrongly, but it's how it was in those days, and it's not right. But you learn things as you go on, and people's attitudes change. And at the time, like in the '60s, Britain was only like 20 years after the Second World War, and we were still, a big player in world politics and world football, of course. And '68, I think, when I first seen Blues, something like that, England were world champions. So that's something I can say as well. That I've been, I've seen England play as world champions. Or I've been alive while England were world champions, and not many people can say that unless you're getting on a bit. But coming up to the hour, I think Ruddock and Southall come to mind. Yeah, I think Ruddock. Although I think Ruddock has lost a lot of weight. I think Johnny. I'm not sure. Lee saying I was watching Football Focus a while ago, mate, and there was a player suffering from heading the ball too much. No doubt they're saying it's not good. Yeah, well, Lee, the interesting thing about that, of course, is that this is the thing that Jeff Astle apparently caused Jeff Astle's dementia, was constantly heading the ball. Of course, in a lot of kids' football now, they don't allow heading the ball because you've got a constant impact of the head. If you look at the head, like the skull itself, the brain is suspended inside like a box, and when that box rattles, the brain bounces around inside it, to put it crudely, and that's what happens. And Jeff Astle's daughter played a big part in getting this recognised, and it is recognised as being and I think Chris Nicol was another one. And Chris, I think, I'm not sure if Chris is still alive or not, but Chris had dementia and he's really, really poorly with it. And we know that at the moment Gordon Cowans has got this issue as well. So there's a lot of players, ex-players that have suffered possibly from that thing, although it's a very hard thing to prove, isn't it? All right, then. So an interesting one today. We've gone off the subject a little bit, but that doesn't matter. It's been interesting. Thank you so much for joining me. Tomorrow we're going to keep our fingers crossed. Let's get behind the lads, get the 3 points back. Let's hope tonight that I'm going out tonight, I think, which is unusual for me on a Friday. But let's hope that Wrexham are going to drop the points at the Vetch, and they do something for Chris Davis. Of course, Chris turns Swansea down before he came to us. Turned the Swansea manager's job down, so I don't know how they feel about him. But he did a great job there when he was there with Brendan Rodgers, Chris Davis. Lee Harvey saying, well put, Steve. Cheers on that. No problem, mate. And I hope you're all right, Lee. Nice to get you back on again. Everyone, thank you so much for today. And we're on Sunday morning. I'll put details of that out there. And if we've got that special person, then I'll let you know. So I've got the arm right today. Look, there it is. Keep right on you, Blue Boys. Have a fabulous day. Have a fabulous weekend. And let's get them 3 points tomorrow. Okay. Cheers, guys. Thank you.